Hello guys, it's John. So we're here doing another Bakugan discussion, this time on the convert system. So I wanted to kind of do this little mini-series where I go through kind of the main BakuTech systems. I might be a decade or so late, but I still want to talk about them, kind of their effectiveness, and just what I think of them overall. So, of course, starting with the convert system, the system that started everything. So let's just go ahead and start getting into what this does. So obviously, grab Destroy Municus here as kind of just our explanation Bakugan. So you have cross pieces and soul pieces. Soul pieces are feet. Cross pieces can actually be on just about anything. You can have them on, for example, arms. You can have them on a tail. You can have them on wings or a head, or just on the body itself, or whatever this is supposed to be. Cross pieces are kind of made to be in a specific shape to where they can just kind of be placed anywhere, really, which is nice. Soul pieces are a bit more specific, but I get why they did them the way they are, but yeah. Now, the main thing with cross and soul pieces, right, you can kind of change the distribution of metal and weight. Generally speaking, these are going to be plastic or a metal. There is one exception, which is Gallo, which actually has rubber cross pieces, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, obviously, different weight balance. Obviously, you can go full metal for, a lot of weight. Plastic is just lighter, which isn't really the best thing to do. Usually it's best to kind of mix things up in different ways. And rubber could just give you better grip, better traction on a card, which is always good. As far as how many you get for Bakugan, it really depends. Some Bakugan only have one part, which can be, which is just a cross piece. There's, no Bakugan with just one soul piece. Makes sense, but yeah. So there are some Bakugan with just one cross piece. You have Bakugan with two pieces. Sometimes it's, two cross pieces like this guy, and I can see him on the head and tail. You also have two soul pieces, like Trifalco here, who just has them underneath his wings. Some Bakugan have three parts. You have Gigantoris, which I believe is the only Bakugan to have two soul pieces and one cross piece. The back there. Pretty unique in that case. But there are some with three cross pieces, though, like Shield Leonis. Of course, you got the two there, and the one back there. And then, of course, some have four pieces, and that's two cross pieces and two soul pieces. As you can see, crosses are the arms here, soul pieces there. And there's, of course, the kind of two special ones. We have the Tavenals, which, well, I guess it's three special ones in that case, but whatever. Sex Tavenal and Size Tavenal. I have Size Tavenal sitting here. Of course, has four soul pieces. The only Bakugan to not have, well, only one of two Bakugan to not have, two soul pieces. Both Tavenals, but still. And then, of course, you have the two cross pieces as well. And then, of course, the other one here, which is fairly notable, and that is Santu Halavos, has the two soul pieces, but also has three cross pieces. One piece less than the Tavenals, but this is also the only 36mm Bakugan to be part of the convert system, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, with all that said, what exactly does all of this even mean, right? It gets a little bit weird. So, as far as what this does, so first we'll start off with Rise Dragon here, right? One cross piece, you generally want to use metal. You can use rubber if you want to, if you want like more traction on the card, because that can help for defense. Obviously for Rise Dragon, you're probably not going to want that. For Keel Atlantis, something like that. Keel Atlantis, you could do rubber if you want to, because you have the metal already on the bottom, so you could sacrifice a bit of weight for more grip on the card. That's fair. Something like that can work. But yeah, generally you want metal for one cross piece. Now, two parts work. It's pretty interesting. So let's grab these two. So these are our Bakugan with two pieces. Now this kind of depends on the distribution of the pieces. Obviously a lot of Bakugan have cross pieces like, this where they're on each side. This one has kind of a vertical thing going on. Vertically speaking, you probably want to do the same type overall. Again, not plastic. You can do rubber if you want to, but You could do like rubber and metal if you want. I guess like this part being rubber on the ground, this part being metal on top. That's fair. But yeah, I guess for this type of design, generally speaking, you do both of the same. Now, as far as the other ones go, where it's kind of on each side, that one, rubber doesn't matter, but usually either both metal, or I guess you do one metal, one plastic, gives you weird curve shots. That's kind of the big point about the convert system and why you'd want plastic, is plastic generally isn't very good. However, you can use it to offset the weight, which is nice. So with that one, you'll have, a heavier side, so you can get some crazy curve shots if you want to do that. Generally speaking, I still recommend to just do, both cross pieces metal in that case. But you could do one-on-one if you feel like it. Sole pieces, I generally believe it's just better to have both. Again, you can do one-on-one if you want to have weird curve shots, but I think just having both metal is better. You could do also, curve shots and stuff. Like spin shots, I mean, with having just sole pieces, which is nice. Next up, kind of having three pieces. This is with Gig and Torres, since it's kind of a one-off case. This back part, I mean, should probably be metal. No reason for it not to be. I mean, it just comes with plastic, which is why I have it on, but yeah. Again, kind of the same argument with sole pieces, though. Do you want, like a weird curve shot, or do you just want to do, like, spin shots? It makes it a little bit harder with the cross piece here to do spin shots, so I guess it's more of just a straight-on attacker. In that case, probably full metal, but still. Anyway, next up, three cross pieces. Again, it's kind of an awkward amount, so generally speaking, you're going to want kind of the more centered one to be metal. Or I guess in this case, you can do rubber. If a piece is touching the ground, that's kind of a blanket statement for any pieces that are touching the ground. There's no rubber sole pieces. Rubber sole pieces would have been kind of great to have, but there are no rubber sole pieces, unfortunately, just rubber cross pieces, but yeah. And then again, up here, likely both metal, but you can do one-on-one between plastic and metal for weird weight distribution. Now, getting into four pieces, this is a pretty fun one to talk about. Because I feel like when you have four pieces, you get the most customization. So sole pieces and cross pieces, usually it's kind of set up like this where you have your cross pieces above the sole pieces. It makes sense, but you can do full metal for a good attacker. That's always a solid option. You can also just do metal cross pieces and plastic sole pieces, the opposite of what this guy has, for a more balanced attacker, but I'd probably just say to go full metal at that point. You could offset the sides. Of course, you have like two metal pieces on this side and just like one on this side, just have one plastic piece for, again, offsetting the weight, for weird curves. Or straight up just have metal on one side, plastic on the other for some really weird stuff. This is more like trick shot type of stuff. I don't really recommend offsetting the weight like this, but you can. But the most interesting part is, and this is where I think the plastic cross pieces are the most useful, is doing this kind of setup, like the stock Destroy Municus setup, where you have plastic cross pieces up here and metal ones for the sole pieces. And the thing with what this does is it gives you like really good spin shots, because the metal is on the bottom of the Bakugan. It's bottom heavy. You have plastic on the top, so it makes sense. It makes them spin better. So in these cases, I generally just think it's better to pick between full metal or, again, having a metal bottom part, which is really important, I would say. Now for kind of the oddballs here, size Tavenel as well as sex Tavenel, which maybe I should have grabbed, but it's fine. Anyway, so for these guys, you have three parts on each side, so again, it's just kind of how do you want to distribute the weight. Do you want, like, obviously you want full metal on one side probably, unless if you do like two metal soles, a plastic cross, a metal sole, metal cross, plastic sole. You could do like weird customizations with these things. Generally speaking, I mean, you probably don't want to do that. I mean, you could also, again, do like full metal on one side, like offset by one or two or even three, but I mean, it's kind of extreme. Generally speaking, for the Tavenels, they're very heavy. I just say to load them up with metal, have all 6 metal pieces to make them very heavy attackers. Same rule for Sanzu Holobos, which this thing, it's very heavy. I recommend just, again, you can offset the weight if you want, but it's meant to be a powerful attacker. Just just keep these all metal. The only exception I would say is maybe the tail. If you want a rubber tail, like a rubber crosspiece here for more defense, you can. I don't think it's ideal, but like it's a pretty heavy Bakugan as is. It's already pretty tanky. If you just want to make it even more of a tank defensively in that case, which I mean it's more of a tank on offense than defense. But hey, if you want to sacrifice a bit of offense for whatever reason to have it stand the card a bit better, you could do that if you want to. That's kind of the fun part about the convert system, is you can just mix and match and do whatever you want. Generally speaking, again, full metal is the best way to go. Only exception is if you do have metal soul pieces and plastic cross pieces above them just for the sake of spin shots. That's generally the only time I'd really recommend plastic. But again, if you want to just have fun with some interesting, curve shots, you can. And again, there's also those rubber cross pieces from Will Gallo that are pretty helpful for, defensive Bakugan if you want. If you have cross pieces touching the card directly, metal cross pieces do give you more weight, which is nice. But the rubber ones, while they're lighter, they give you more friction, which is also helpful. So, honestly, again, convert system, I think is just very cool. In terms of effectiveness, I do think it's maybe not as effective as, some might think it is. I think a lot of it's just kind of being flashy. You have a lot of cool stuff you can interchange, which, again, a lot of times it's not the most important thing. There are cases where it is, again, if you want spin shots and whatnot, but still. Or if the Bakugan itself just doesn't come with all metal and you want to swap out parts to make it full metal, fair enough. But there are still situations where it's good, and I do think rubber cross pieces, I wish they were more widespread instead of just being in Will Gallo, because I think they are very interesting and add to defensive Bakugan as well, which is nice to have. Kind of wish for defensive Bakugan, maybe they could have had more rubber pieces, and for attack Bakugan, more metal pieces, and kind of like had a separation like that. That could have been kind of cool, but they didn't do that, unfortunately. But still, overall, I think the convert system is really, really cool. Has a lot of good stuff going for it. So yeah, just kind of a somewhat shorter video on the convert system. Just want to talk about it and some of my thoughts on it. And yeah, overall, it's a good system. I don't know, just want to talk about BakuTech, honestly. So there's a lot you could do here. A lot of customization, even if not all of it is perfect. There is definitely a lot of fun to be had with all the different types of patterns you can make with, different setups. And especially when you have a ton of pieces like Sanzo Halibos or like the Tavenals, you can make a lot of weird curve shots, which is very cool. So anyways, that's going to do it for this video. So thanks for watching, and bye-bye.